Well, one close to final ride with Trudy. Just thought I'd throw this video in here because why not? Actually, very early morning ride with Trudy. She's at full charge right now. There's the charger down there still. Got water in a Tim Hortons coffee cup from a Tim Hortons that I actually just applied to for work. I had actually left my resume there a few weeks ago, but they never got back to me. But I may have an opportunity there now. And there was some garbage bags because I asked if I could borrow some from them. Because I ended up pulling an all-nighter almost in the town of Lakefield, Ontario, as I've gone back and forth between it on a few occasions now from where I'm... Oh, God, my hair's in my mouth. From where I've been staying at. And, yeah, I got there very late, much later than I had actually intended, and yeah, and then I had to charge Trudy because, oh, car, gotta pull off to the side, or ideally should pull off to the side, because legally, I'm really only supposed to be on the hilt of the road right here, the absolute shoulder of it, but considering with my skewed perception of morality, I go just on the side mainly of the actual pavement because it's smoother on the wheels. I've put up signs on her though saying for sale, and she's going for, well, a lot. I'm asking a lot. I don't want to have to ask people, like, I don't want to have to ask people this much, like, for her, but I'm desperate for some more amount of cash right now, so yeah, it's a process. Wow. But when she is on full charge, and even when she's not, she is incredible going downhill. And I've actually become quite the steerer at it, or good at steering, it seems. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I'm recording this. I'm very tired. There's a lot more traffic on these roads than there have been, like, recently. Or at least yesterday and now this morning. I don't know if there's, like, some sort of event happening in... I also don't know if the camera can hear me very well. I don't know if there's some sort of event happening in Lakefield or the nearby city of Peterborough. I doubt Lakefield, because Lakefield is not a... What the fuck was that? Okay, let's hope that wasn't the mysterious creature thing that chased me on Timmy a while back. Or whatever that thing was. It's more likely after talking to some people that it was a dog of some kind, or that my eyes were playing tricks on me, but I'll get into that more, like... Yeah, you know what, well, that was a pothole. You know what, I'll slap this on at the beginning of, like, the next video I upload, I guess. Along with, like, well, my send-off to Trudy, which I filmed before this, because, I didn't expect to even have her today, because, well, I over-anticipated how quickly someone may want to actually purchase one of these on Kijiji. Which, yes, I created an account on it just to sell lovely Trudy here. And for those of you of the external world, or internationally, who don't know what Kijiji is, it's basically the Canadian version of Craigslist. Yeah, and don't worry, that's not a compliment entirely to it. So yeah, don't know really why I'm filming this. Just wanted to say that. It's a beautiful morning, though. Beautiful morning. The overproduction of melatonin in my cerebrum and the melatonin receptors getting flooded with, well, overstimulation should start to hit me at some point later in the day. But hopefully it's not before I actually reach my extended relative's cottage. And the sun is blinding my eyes. I cannot see. Oh yeah, and also I decided to get a shaved haircut, or like a side shave, because I figured, well, because of global warming, how hot it is during the days now and cold it is at night, and also for when the winter months come and like fall, it'd be better to just be able to have one side letting airflow go through it and breathing through my skull, like letting the pores on my cranium actually get some air, and when it gets colder to just swoop it to one side. But you'll see that in this video anyway when I show my face. Yeah, so just enjoy the lovely drive with me right now. Oh yeah, and it's I'm definitely purchasing a can't talk. I am definitely purchasing a side-by-side UTV, which, by the way, I actually didn't know. I thought side-by-sides were actually ATVs, but they're not. Apparently they're a separate form of off-road vehicle. But they're called UTVs. I don't know what they stand for, but it's like an off-branch of an ATV, I guess. Don't fully know, but yeah, I will be purchasing one, and it'll obviously cost me a bit, but oh, here comes a semi-truck. Why don't I just stop and slow down? Also, when I slow down, I tend to turn off the ignition immediately just to save on battery. I did something similar with Timmy, which I can explain in a bit, but I guess I explained it already in my Peterborough videos for the most part, but whatever. Yeah. Also, I just want to state, how fucking pointless is this, like, right here? Like, how... God, there's a lot... Holy shit, there is a lot of traffic on this usually just vacant country road. It's like usually completely desolate at all times of the day. But yesterday and today, I don't know what is going on. Maybe a zombie apocalypse has started and I'm just not aware because it hasn't really reached the rural areas yet and everyone's trying to get out. Anyway, how pointless is this design right here? Okay, so for this golf cart, it's apparently it's called a Yamaha. That's the brand, I guess. Well, it's the model of it. Well, and it's a G14. I'm not an expert with like makes and models of vehicles, but I have to state this design here, this plexiglass window shield, like, it's completely pointless. It's entirely pointless. One, what is this supposed to be protecting me from? Like, my head is above here. I can see above this. Unless this was meant for, like, a very short person, which I highly doubt because the pedals are down here. It doesn't do anything. It's not even, like, shielding me from bugs or debris. And if it was to, like, add some, like, layer of protection, like, in the event of a crash, it's just, gonna snap off, and this beam right here is most likely gonna, like, slice right through my friggin' neck or something. Like, it's entirely pointless. Seriously, like, my head is all the way up here. I can see beyond this. Well, anyway. Yeah. Okay, don't know why I record this. I really just want to get back to the cottage. Because again, I pulled pretty well an all-nighter. Barely slept. Had an incident somewhat in Lakefield, and I literally just left Trudy to charge and wandered around the town, stopping at points. So, yeah, I'm gonna get going now, again. I know you're not a liar, and I know we could set fire this day. Why won't you let us use your name? Try me, I am simply very perplexed by your ways. Go on, I don't remember the lyrics to Implicit Demand for Proof by 21 Pilots. It has been a very eventful day. I'll probably explain more why in a bit. So as typical it is with these videos, I don't know how to start them. Or I don't know how to start this. I know I'm going to be rambling and ranting about a lot of different things in this video, and in the next, and depending on if I have to split it into 3 parts, the next one after that. I'm definitely not going to be able to explain everything that's gone on in the last 4 months, like outside of what I've already talked about in the videos I've made here and there while I've been up here situated at my extended relative's cottage. For what I haven't talked about in those videos and what's just happened in my life in general. So I won't be able to do that in one go, and I'm definitely going to go on like tangents about the situation concerning my existential / morality crisis, but and my psychological state, how my values and ideologies are holding up right now, how I'm just like physically holding up, my plans going forward, because in a few days I will be leaving this cottage, and I will be heading up towards Ottawa. For any international viewers who don't know what the city of Ottawa is, it's the Canadian capital city. it's the capital city of Canada. And I believe the fifth or the sixth biggest city in all of Canada. I'm not entirely sure on that. But yeah, I'll be heading up to Ottawa or Gatineau. I don't think I'll be going, well, again, for those of you who don't know, Gatineau is the neighboring city to Ottawa, which is on the Quebec side in the Canadian province of Quebec. So it borders it across the canal that divides the provinces of Ontario and Quebec. But yeah, I will be heading up that way. And oh yeah, so they may have probably forgot. I will have, there's two little, well, not little, one of the videos is, the clips is 11 minutes long or so, will be put on at the start of this video. It was just a video of me driving my now sold golf cart Trudy back to, well, around here. And the other video will be, I just took it because I figured, well, give a bit of an explanation, or I just felt like filming the fact and saying that it had been a hell of a day, because that was that day that I filmed the video of me in the washroom covered in sweat and grime and dirt was after I had returned from going into the city of Peterborough, taking a whole bunch of back roads on my now new UTV side-by-side, which I purchased. So anyway, you'll see those clips before you see this, most likely, unless anything else goes awry, but who knows. Well, where do I begin for this one? I'm going to try and keep an eye on the time as well, so if you see me looking at my watch, or as I have in past videos when I first arrived in Peterborough on Timmy, or when I was sitting in that park for the things are very uncertain and me leaving Toronto alone video, I would be checking the camera just to see how long the footage has been going. It's also, I'm worried a bit about storage right now. Also because today is a day off for me, as I gained, if you saw my video of the stupidest thing that I've attempted doing, I found another job around the local area here in a nearby village known as McCracken's Landing at a restaurant. I will well, I'll be talking about that more in a bit. Yeah, so oh, actually, hold on one second. Just hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to go take a shit. Anyway. Great, I've already lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, well, gained another job, then, well, I'll just say, excuse me, yeah, it's been, well, things have happened. There's been a lot of things that have happened. Forgive me also again if I seem a bit more well, as usual, disorganized in thought, as I again tend to ramble, and also today my dissociation has been somewhat acting up a bit worse than usual. I was gonna say I'm keeping an eye on the time because there's something, since it's a day off for me today, I would like to get certain things done in preparation for my departure upward north. I'd actually like to do some things like to prepare or for it. Over the past few weeks of this last month, I've been getting help from some relatives of mine who have come up on and off to the cottage at intervals, and also help from my coworkers getting certain things, and also stuff by myself, just getting ready for me to leave. Yesterday I actually went on a trip into the city of Peterborough to get a few necessities with a coworker who I feel I've gotten to know a lot better as a person, and I'm really happy that I got to know them. Okay, so first topic, what should I cover? Okay, well, let me start with this. My whole, as I mentioned in that video of me filming a frog, a silly looking frog that was literally sprawled out just on a bridge that we have down in the cove at this point. My whole quest, I guess, to better understand how well my philosophies and ideologies hold up and moral values has made only the slightest amount of progress, I'd say, right now. Okay, well, there's been progress, but how I feel about it has been still very somber, or I felt very somberly to most of it. In fact, some of my feelings towards certain things are worse, if that wasn't evident by my latest sketch, my entertainment sketch of when I tell people I want to be a pornographer, which I'm glad that I made that video. Am I happy with how everything turned out? No. Now there are many continuity errors in that video, but I actually think for what the subject pertains to and what it eventually devolves into, in terms of like the content of what it was, I felt they actually worked for what I was trying to portray. And most of that also, unlike a lot of my other skits that I did in the past on this channel, I meant pretty well, it's not that I didn't mean any of what I said in my past skits. Of course I did. I mean, when I was in a very passionate, emotionally driven, like when my character was in an emotionally driven state, more towards the end, I meant every word of what I said in like that last bit of me screaming with the wood paneling behind me at my, I guess I'll call it an alter ego, or, well, or my intrusive, or like a physical manifestation, like the other me was just like a physical manifestation of my intrusive or moralistic doubt, I guess I'll say. But at the end of the day, regardless of whether I actually enjoyed that video full through, which I still have issues with it, probably because of my own bias, because I made it, I am glad that I made it. Because as well, that, as I said in the description of that video, was the last sketch entertainment project type thing that I'm most likely going to be doing for a while. Because, well, with my current nomadic and semi-homeless lifestyle, I can't exactly afford, or how my lifestyle will be going forward from here at most points. There'll be many intervals where I can't really afford to do so, like time-wise. And I also just, with how my cognitive state is, I can't do it. It feels too wrong. I can't make entertainment, or like, I don't want to say scripted, because here's actually a little fun fact. I don't script any of my videos. Even like the skits that I've made, I don't script a single fucking thing in it, which is one thing I will praise myself for a bit. I'll give myself a little bit of a pat on the back in terms of my creative ability. I have not, even though I haven't thought and still don't think that most of my videos have turned out well. Most of my skits, I always find a problem with them because of those damn perfectionist tendencies. Sorry, that's just me cracking my feet. I haven't scripted a single one. I've literally just stood with the camera, and for every skit, I literally winged it. I improvised every single line, every single shot, every single character that I played. It was all just like their characteristics, their personalities, and all of it. It was all improvised. And again, this is just for the skits. I'm not talking about like videos like this, like an actual, well, obviously these are unscripted, just actual like vlog type videos, or me just addressing like my audience, or like in the Too Much Talking Twink videos that I did, or any of that, just talking point commentary videos. Those obviously were unscripted, and I was giving my thoughts on different issues. But the skits were all, and the Minecraft videos as well, that I made, which are still the only videos that I'm fully happy with, of all those Minecraft videos of my cities, Reef and Icarus, that I built in a very short amount of time, actually. Yeah, those those are my favorite videos that I've ever made. And I don't know, they've held a lot of comfort for me, especially in these times. But anyway, it's all really unscripted. I have an idea, obviously, of what I want to do with them, but anyway, that's just something I will give myself a little brace for. But getting back on topic, and also I'm going to just say right now, if you haven't noticed, I'm talking a bit differently. Well, not just because of my dissociative state, because I want to try right now. It's because of my histrionic tendencies. I go off on, I guess, so many different tangents to cover my basis of things. I'm talking. I'm also sorry if I'm like fidgeting a bunch. I going like this, going like this, going like touching myself in different ways. It's just, well, I don't know what to do right now. I'm trying to keep my rambling to a more cohesive level. And this may be the only video for a while where I actually actively try and do that, because I'm trying to explain more stuff. But anyway, with how my morality and views are, my beliefs towards a whole, to everything, I can't, in my right mind right now, make entertainment. Like stuff that is meant to be comedic or tell a story or represent something in any sort of way, right now at least. Oh, excuse me again. I just, I don't think it's good for me. Well, I mean, it is, in a sense, yes, it is therapeutic. It still is therapeutic to me, as I've said in the past, but it's, I don't know whether it's right or wrong to do. That's what I'll say. And, okay, so that was that bit of an announcement that I won't be making any more skits for a while. And as for going back to my whole existential morality crisis, which I guess, after rewatching my suicidal ideation video when I was in that conversation with my friend in America, I said it was kind of idiotic for me to call it, for not to acknowledge that it could be an identity crisis too, which I kind of retract that statement that I said as well, because yes, even though obviously your beliefs of human existence or the existence of just things in general, or your morality obviously bleeds into your identity as a person. It's just, that's not the overarching thing that's going on. Yes, obviously my identity plays a part in those, but it's not what I'm mainly more concerned with. Like, I don't give a shit about that's a tangent for another moment. Back to my existential and morality crisis. I want, after rewatching that video and then also the ones, or most of the ones that, as I was making my way on Timmy, my motorized bike, up here. I want to more clearly and cohesively outline what the problem is that I'm dealing with. So, if you haven't seen, let me just preface this. I know if I say this, probably no one's going to do this, but I should just anyway. I'm not going to go into the whole history of like everything that's happened to me over the last 2.5 years of my life. You want information on, wow, that got bright. You want information on that, go watch all the videos prior to this, starting at technically you could start at like the singing songs in a tunnel to ease some gloom video, which I just did to have some fun and give some entertainment because of it was a rough day. But you could start there, or you could just start at a night cab ride and a suicidal ideation video, which you can find in the playlist that I have called or titled regarding the channel. So I'm not saying anything that's happened to me, but I will say, if you know all that knowledge of what has happened, what has been going on with me is that I, for the longest time, have formed my stance of morality, which I started questioning from a very young age compared to, I'd say, most people. Then again, I believe that mental and intellectual maturity varies depending person by person, which I'll get into more in a bit about ageism, which I've encountered through most of my life and still continue to encounter in subtle ways. But because right now I'm 18 years old. I'm 18 and I've literally left my home city on my own, literally entirely physically on my own, with stuff that I gathered or had help gathering at the very least, but primarily did on my own. And then I rode out through the countryside to another city far away, slept in the rural areas in the middle of nowhere at points. For one night technically, but I rode through the rest and then into the city. But anyway, well, I mean, this counts as the middle of nowhere, but I started this channel when I was 17 in terms of like uploading the videos that are on the channel now, starting with the Minecraft videos. I upload those when I had just turned 17, because my birthday is in December, which is actually, I'll be 19 soon. But anyway. Back to what I was saying. I started forming at least the core beliefs of my ethics or ethical understanding early on. And I'll say that though obviously, yes, they've grown and evolved over time, even now, like in my logical sense, most of my core values, like the core concept or premise of them, I obviously, when I was younger, there were certain things I was ignorant to, and there's stuff, obviously, that I'm still ignorant to. Same goes with everyone on the planet, but the core concepts of what I now believe, I've held at least since I was 15 years old. 15 or 16. Certain things as well to a latter extent 14. But anyway. And because of that, I started from earlier on even than that, when I lived in America, in the United States. I started researching more for myself and learning more about different fields of scientific study and culture and sociological issues on my own rather than what was taught to me in school, because I fucking hate the current schooling system here in Canada and in most countries of the world, from what I've seen of other countries' schooling systems. A lot of them, though different in ways and some more beneficial, often function on the same principles, but another time for that discussion. 1 second, let me look at it. Yeah, it's 29 minutes so far. Anyway, I started critically thinking and discerning for myself things to do with life. And I held my emotional state of what I felt connected to and passionate about and caring for, and or what I felt anger towards, or things that I despised or hated, or what I thought was more beneficial or good for people or healthy, or stuff that was detrimental to human and animal well-being or environmental well-being, or just anything, a variety of things, all of it, I held firmly with scientific reasoning and study. That also bleeds into my religious views, obviously, of agnostic atheism and all that. But I held so much hope in that. And obviously for so many years, I would kill myself basically internally. And like, one of my issues is I overstress about so many things, or at least I seemingly overstress. And basically, every day of my life for years, I critically think and try and discern what I felt, if there were flaws in my logic, if seeing and obviously learning about other people's perspectives and all that jazz. But what I valued and felt a deep connection to came from logic and reasoning for everything. It didn't matter what it was. My emotional, psychological state had always been connected to what intellectually I thought was best, or what scientifically, that sounded fucking narcissistic. What scientifically seemed best that I figured out for myself, or more so that other people in scientific fields, scientists of all varying kinds, experts, had determined. And obviously I would critically think about that too, but bottom line being, I guess I'm starting to realize now as I'm saying this, yeah, pretty well. I held, oh shit, what was that? Oh yeah, that's just a stupid, yeah, where I'm gonna have to probably splice these two together. I held so much. I basically hailed science as a religion. Pretty ironic. And actually, if I'm really thinking on a more philosophical level of that, I'd say most people who are more scientifically inclined or follow the belief of, well, as I did in my philosophical views, I follow the belief of scientism or scientism. It's either scientism or scientism, which is basically going with science on absolutely everything. Because everything is science. There is no, you can't escape it. It doesn't matter what realm it's in, whether it's human interaction, politics, religion, microorganisms, biology, technology. It doesn't matter what it is. It all relates to science, and they all connect in even the smallest of ways. Which is actually, well, more about that later. Something I've been working on while I've been up here to keep myself preoccupied, I guess. Bottom line is, I held basically science is and has for the longest time been my God. And it always was, even in my darkest moments when I was younger, what saved me. But then, once my neurological issues started happening, or my psychosomatic neurological issues, as I will just briefly state here, when I got up here, I had a conversation over the phone with my psychiatrist, who formally diagnosed me, as I've edited the descriptions of certain videos now to inform people of it, but I guess I'll more broadly speak on it now. I've been diagnosed with, they use different wording, but this is literally what it is. Even though the DSM-5, like, it has different wording now, which I disagree with in many instances because I think it can get way too confusing with it, or make it problematically convoluted. Basically, I have been diagnosed with clinical depression, somatic symptom disorder, or otherwise known as somatization disorder, and which also falls in line with somatoform dissociation, which is what I also have. And I also have sugar addiction, but I wasn't diagnosed for that. I just know that I have it. And again, logically, I don't want to self-diagnose, but it's talking with my psychologist for a while, that it's pretty clear. Like, bring the topic back. Not going there yet. Anyway, once those psychosomatic neurological issues start happening, and even when they started improving, which they have now, I will say, they have greatly improved since I was in Toronto. It's one thing that's greatly improved, but they're still there, but they've greatly improved. When all those started happening, I started to notice that
what my logical sense of mind was telling me felt very wrong to my emotional state. What I basically no longer had a connection. It didn't feel like I had a connection anymore to what I logically felt was right, based on reason and, well, just logical, critical thinking. And maybe, and I'm starting to realize now, because I had said that before, but I'm starting to realize maybe as well that certain parts of my logical state don't make sense anymore. Or at least, yeah, I'll say they feel like they don't make sense anymore. That's probably the worst part of stuff that's happened recently, but basically, things that I had felt morally were right or better, more beneficial to me personally, started feeling severely detrimental or wrong. I have no other word to describe it, just it felt wrong. Everything started feeling wrong. It felt bad, terrible, just everything started feeling unethical. And this doesn't relate to just one thing or one category of my life. It was in almost every facet. Everything that I did or that other people did just felt in one way beneficial and in another way even more unethical. And I was so desperately, at that time, I did what I had always done at points like that, where I'd research on my own using the internet or just and talking with people, and then going out, like having my own experiences with things, just getting to hear other people's perspectives, close friends of mine, people I didn't know well, and talking to them. Just my own exploration combined with research, what I had always done, which had always found a way, thankfully, to pull me back to something that I could hold on to logically and emotionally. But as the months went on, it got worse and worse, and that method was no longer working. And I was terrified. I still am terrified. And I'll get into more of my fears, like, because something I'd actually want to discuss before I get going is, what am I afraid of for my fears and insecurities? Because I feel like more people, I feel like most people in the world actually don't really acknowledge what makes them vulnerable, and it really causes problems. And what the fucking hell was that? Just some people out tubing in a boat. Okay. For a second, I don't know if the camera heard that, but I heard a scream, and okay, yeah, it's nothing. Never mind. Back to the point. It started to all fall apart. And after things that transpired with people that were in my original household in Toronto, that all went to shit. It it started getting worse and worse still. And then the kidnapping happened, and then I saw the perpetrator and the victim again after the initial kidnapping, which I did nothing to stop, against my logical judgment. And that was the final straw. That broke me. And it was at that moment I realized I could no longer go with the research and the experience part of it, my understanding of things. I realized then that there are many great things I still feel that Toronto has. There are many great things about its culture, its communities, its human connectivity in certain areas. There are many things I loved about it. Its architecture, I've always loved cityscapes, despite them being mass center of pollution, which I hate, and just often very heavily centered around corruption in many ways. I've always loved just dawning skyscrapers over... They're not even skyscrapers, just clusters of buildings and people, and it's odd for an introvert to say that I like that, but I really did. I really loved just the aesthetic and the concept of a city or a town or even a village. A settlement of any kind of people. It's just... Get back to the point. Despite the certain good things about Toronto, I realized that city, which I had known before, but it became fully apparent that that city is full of just severe depravity and very... It grows psychological illness, at least to me. It's so full of horror. And I know there are bountiful cities that are worse than Toronto. Bountiful. Fuck, you go into the neighboring city of Ottawa and I'd be like, nope, I'll take Toronto over that, please. Or fucking Peterborough. Peterborough is just... I was referring to Oshawa as the Gotham City of Ontario. Peterborough takes that cake. Now it does. Absolutely takes that cake. After sleeping in that city for one night and also frequent trips, well, not frequent, but at certain points of going back into the city, fucking Peterborough takes that top spot of worst city in the province of Ontario, at least as far as I've seen. But I knew that I had to leave that city. I had even gone when I was, for years, even before I started making YouTube videos, I would go out and explore the city against certain people's wants, but so that I could see it and gain experience and understanding and just explore it. But even that, after when I was having these issues for so long, I knew, and I went out into the city to find some form of hope. It never came. That's not me saying that me going on this journey that I will find that. I hope I do find hopefulness. I hope I find hopefulness, but there's no guarantee. Anyway, I knew I had to go. The method that I had wasn't working. I couldn't keep having faith in humanity from what I was doing initially. I had to see and experience it for myself. And you know what? Now that I'm also psychoanalyzing myself again, and like as I have been over these past few months, maybe looking back at some of my videos and what I described, maybe a part of me always subconsciously knew, maybe for a while I subconsciously knew that this is how it was going to end. Or end up going with my life. That I couldn't keep staying there. And now one of my things I love is geography. I travel. I've always been, for a long time, fascinated by travel and different cultures of the world and societies and all of that. But I also stated, or at least I believe I've stated in previous videos, that I never wanted to, or actually maybe I'm confusing it with what I've told people in my daily life. I never wanted to travel like this, like what I'm doing now. I wanted to wait till maybe I'd gotten my 3 careers off the ground, or tried to get at least something stable with my 3 careers of video game writing, pornography, and stock photography. Just wanted to get that off the ground. And then if I'd accumulated enough funds, and after redistributing my own wealth and doing all that jazz, my communistic ideals and altruistic ideals and all that, and with whatever I had left over, just then travel in a more, I guess, conventional means, or a more planned out or safer means, I'd say, which, even though that's kind of iffy, but bottom line is I didn't want to travel like this. And people would tell me, then why am I here? Why are you here now? Then why did you do it? Because I couldn't keep going the way that I was. I didn't want to travel like this. I had to, for my own psychological sanity and philosophical understanding of life around me and my morals. I had to. Okay? When people tell me certain things, that, especially in recent months, when relatives of mine have come up here, I felt, it's another thing. Again, let me see what the marker is. Okay, we're fine. There are so many points when being here, I felt so alienated from everyone else here. There were many intervals for weeks, and at the very start of when I got up here, a whole month, where I was on my own up here. I was surviving on my own. I was going in and out of nearby towns and villages on Timmy, my motorized bike, and then Trudy, my golf cart, when I had purchased her, to get necessities. And yeah, I fucking made that work. Some people couldn't even believe, like, holy shit, you got a slow-ass electric golf cart, you made it last into nearby towns, and used the funds that I had to purchase food, necessities, all that, whatever else. But I felt so alienated by so many people in my own family, again, when they'd come up here. Now, not everyone, if there are certain relatives of mine watching this, not all of you, I'm not going to name names. Again, privacy, I'm not going to say what your positions are in my life, other than the fact that you are related to me. Not going to say anything other than that. But people would often encourage me to come join in with them while they were here. And then when I would join in with them, I would just sit there and do nothing. Like, and people might ask, well, why didn't I join in and say something? I didn't know what to say. I didn't have really anything to say. And it seems at points people were getting pissed at me for that. Like, well, you could have asked me something. If you wanted me to join in a conversation, then why don't you ask me something if you want my opinion on it? Like, on the topic that we're talking about. But if not, then I didn't feel like I needed to add anything. So I'd sit back and try not piss anyone off. Anyway, I don't want that to become a huge tangent yet. But my point being, at certain points, when I talk to people about this, it almost sounds like they're just basically telling me to wait a few years because of my age. Just wait on having an existential or a morality crisis. Just wait until just wait to have complete psychological disarray. Wait for that. Like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to wait to have mental health issues? How am I supposed to wait to have psychological problems or having a fucking ontological problem? And if you don't know what ontology is, it's a specific study of philosophy that relates to human existence and just our existence as a species. Anyway, it's so stupid to me how some people, it was basically, they obviously wouldn't just flat out say, I haven't had anyone yet flat out say, you shouldn't be, like, just don't have it, just don't experience it. But there's some people would say, like, yeah, well, you're very young to be having this now. So what? There is no age to... This is what I'm saying. People say, like, when I explain things to people, they'll say, I get that, but we don't want you to not set yourself up for success, or you're not gonna prepare for your future. Do you not understand what an existential crisis or a morality crisis is? I don't know if I even care about that. I already didn't care about the so-called what in the Western world at least is mainly prevalent, and in most parts of the Eastern world too. Just the world as a whole. The whole traditionalist ideal, or in many cultures, the traditionalist value of setting yourself up for success. I don't care about success of money or fame or popularity. Well, there's the same thing. Or gratifying my own self-interest fully or being good in business. I don't care. I don't care. I don't give two shits. I don't give a crap. I don't care whether I have any of that. And in a healthy mindset, I don't think anyone else should either. Like, so many people just waste their lives caring about that. I logically and emotionally pretty well, at least right now, I think so many, all of that is just a waste of your time and your life. Good, money makes you comfortable. Physically, fine. Do you have, like, people to talk to? Do you have good social relations? And money, by the way, I still firmly believe that money doesn't make you happy. Money can buy you the things that, in this world at least, sadly, I believe that money is worthless, but it's not useless. Yeah, it can bring you the things that make you happy in some regards. But it's still not the physical fucking money that's making you happy. It's that thing. If someone gifted you that thing, like, without you having to pay for it, you're getting it totally for free, I guarantee you most of you would still have the emotional connection to that thing and be happy that you had it. What's the whole point of giving people gifts then on fucking Christmas or your birthday? As most people in the Western world follow that traditional value. There are countries where people don't even celebrate their birthdays. Or there are different tribes and also different nomadic people groups as well in many countries as well in the Middle East, and specifically in Yemen, and I think it's well also in Oman and parts of Saudi Arabia, where they don't even celebrate birthdays. Hell, it's culturally traditional in the entire country of Bhutan, in Bhutanese culture, that they don't celebrate birthdays. Now, a lot more of the younger generation have, like, been able to calculate their age based on, like, because I actually don't think societally, like, legally, I don't think they give out birth certificates in Bhutan either. Like, but I think I've seen that a lot of the younger generation has been able, like, to calculate what their age would be compared to, like, the rest of the world in how they, excuse me again, celebrate birthdays and all that. But, which, again, ethically, I have a problem, actually, with not having official, like, understanding of what your age is, but because I can get into really iffy territories, especially with sexuality and, like, and romance. It can get very iffy, but anyway, point being, people were basically, in the subtlest of ways, at least it seemed to me, and I guarantee, or at least I think most of them didn't mean to. I don't think many of them meant it as, like, a malicious, like, I don't think they genuinely, like, were trying, logically, I have to say logically again, because logically, I don't think they, like, knew how much damage they were doing. I don't think they did. But telling me to wait on this is not going to do anything. What do you even... I understand... Here's another thing I do. I often say, like, I don't understand something. Like, I usually just do it out of habit now. And obviously, there are things that I don't understand. But when it comes to fields like psychology, neurology, philosophy, all my interests, for the most part, specifically with psychology and people's psychological states and behaviors, realistically, I understand what may be causing them to... what might have caused them to say that or behave in that way, or present their persona in that way. But just, I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but I don't understand why specifically the issues that they're dealing with cause them to do that. That's what I'm more so getting at. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I just usually say I don't understand it when it comes to psychology out of, like, habit. Realistically, I think I do. Like, because I talk about about traits and tendencies of our personality characteristics and then into full-blown disorders, because in psychology, well, psychology and the emotional state, psychology is the study of the emotional state of, otherwise known as the psyche or psychological state, And it can be divided most often into 3 groups of study: mentality, personality, and behavior. I'm, in my opinion, the best at with my research in towards personality. I think I'm best at reading people's personality and personas. And then the second best would probably be behavior, and then it would be mentality. But I'm versed, obviously, in all 3, but God, now that I don't mean, and I also don't mean that to sound intellectually complex, even though some tendencies of mine would be towards intellectual heightenedness. Again, I'm not trying to brag about. There we go with the histrionic tendencies, the leaning ones of me over-explaining it. Back to topic. You can't just tell someone to wait to have a crisis. It's so strange, like when we talk about psychologically. Imagine if you literally just told someone with physical health issues, like physiological chronic problems, to just wait to be in pain. Wait, okay, actually, here's a pretty good, says a lot about Canadian society. That's what our fucking healthcare system does. Yeah, people can rant about how terrible the American healthcare system is all they want, which, yeah, it does suck. It's a horrible system. Canada's system is no better. In fact, in many regards, I actually say the Canadian healthcare system is fucking worse. Like, literally, it's the lesser of 2 evils. Go to America, yeah, you might get treatment right away, but you're charged like $500,000 for just to get a roundabout, like, a checkup if you've been in an accident or something in the ER. But go to Canada, yeah, it may be free, but you take the chance of dying on the stretcher in the emergency room because the lines are so fucking backed up because nobody in the fucking healthcare system prioritizes fucking anything. Literally, it's just first come, first serve. Oh, wait, you have a large cut along your arm and you're not bleeding profusely, you're coming in first. Nope, it doesn't matter if the person behind you is having a stroke or a heart attack. No. You are coming in first. Even though you could wait in the line, you can wait in the emergency waiting room, bandage it up, try and get someone else, a nurse maybe, to help you there, and take the person who's actually in critical condition, dying, first. I know that might have seemed like a personal experience I was describing. No, I'm just using a general thing because that's the fucking Canadian healthcare system. It's horrible. It's fucking terrible. It literally, and I'm passionate about that because I fucking care about people and I fucking care about neurology and psychology, neuropsychology, all of it, and just physiology and people's health. Like, imagine we do. But imagine someone outside of the healthcare system just telling you, wait to be in pain. Just ignore it. Which they do. Okay. Now, let me outline, going off of that tangent there, next part. Let me more outline, I guess, what specifically to do with our existence as human beings and my morality I am having issues with. That, I think, is what has been so... Checking the timestamp, it's past an hour. Probably gonna split this into, another part soon. Just determining... Let me explain it. What's been causing me issues? Okay, first, morality. I valued many things to do with caring about other people while also having your self-interest. Communism, socialistic issues, libertarianism. This is in terms of societally and economically and governmental issues. And people just being more altruistic while also maintaining certain things of your own egotistical parts. A bit more of egoism in that philosophy, even though I'm not an egoist. I call what I believe self-maintaining altruism, which I'll probably outline what I add. Actually, no, okay. Here were some of my... I'm going to outline... I remember I had said in the suicidal ideation video about names I had given to specific philosophies and ideals of mine that I felt need their own names. So let me outline them right now. Well, let me also outline the ones that I already believe that have names, and let me do both. First off, ones that I believed that I didn't give names to that I in parts identified with. Communism and a communist ideology in not every facet, obviously. And again, all these philosophies and ideologies, less obviously ones I created myself, which I didn't, but there's one I remember I talked about. There was one what is it called? A thought experiment that I seemingly created myself, which I fully believed. But anyway, I don't obviously, just because I identify with these doesn't mean I fully agree with absolutely everything that they dictate, every principle that they have indoctrinated into them. But for the most part, communism, libertarianism, libertarian communism, governmental decentralization. I had a list of them before. I'm trying to just remember them off the top of my head here with the time that there is. Come on. Governmental decentralization. Antidisestablishmentarianism. Reformism. Democracy. Come on. It's not that I'm trying to remember what the philosophies are. I'm trying to remember the names. Okay, bottom line, I think you know where I'm going with that, like with all of that, in terms of politics. Basically, I had held the belief of free will, free debate, while also somewhat of a system to redistribute wealth and make have some sort of a system in place to control wealth so it doesn't get out of hand. It doesn't become overbearing to one individual or one organization or group of people, so that it doesn't create a monopoly or an authoritarian regime. And then in personal philosophies, I had, again, libertarian communism, which related to my own personal philosophies, self-maintaining altruism, which I gave the name to. Here's another sociological one, optimum utopianism, I called it, or adequatic utopianism, or satopianism. And if you don't know, so I've explained that self-maintaining altruism was basically having your own self-interest whilst helping others achieve their goals and dreams as well, in what ways you can. Optimum utopianism is basically meaning acknowledging that society will never be perfect ever. It is literally impossible for it to be perfect, because we as creatures, human beings, are biologically flawed in many ways. Like, there are things that are obviously many things that are influenced by how the societal environment around you is, but there are also things in the immediate in your life that, yes, could have been influenced by society, but also just of how our emotional states form. We are biologically flawed, or our physical states, people born with deformities or just physical differences. We are biologically flawed, very much. So it was basically the belief that society can only come as close to perfect as possible, but it will never reach like 100% perfect. It will only come close, like to say the potentiality of a 90% perfect world. It won't get more than that. Like just the potentiality of it. That's not a guarantee that the belief doesn't say that it will ever happen, just that the possibility is there. So I believed that a Satopia, I called it a Satopia, which Satopianism, literally, I just took the words satisfactory and utopianism and slammed them together and boom, Satopia. Just a satisfactory, just a satisfying enough utopia, I guess. But, and I also, here's some more terms I'll throw out. For my own philosophies, I believed in what I called anti-prom declaratism, which the opposite of that would be prom declaratism, mercifalitism, which the opposite, I haven't really decided on what I think a name for the opposite of that would be. Maybe, I think fatalism is already like taken for something, so maybe like, I guess I've been running with fatalitism, something along that line. Come on. Financial unfulfillmentism and inquisitism. And these are the ones that I gave names to for my own understanding of them. And what's another one? Oh, yes. Shoot, someone's probably going to be giving me a call soon. And prolific consentful sensualism. I believe that's the one I called it. Yes, prolific consentful sensualism. That name kind of has bounced around a lot, but anyway, so anti-prom declaratism basically means that you don't make promises internally to yourself or to anyone. You try at least never to make promises in your life, which is something I do. I don't tell people, I try not to ever tell people I promise, because of the emotional detriment that can cause to someone when that promise is not fulfilled. Because there is no guarantee, and most often than not, promises seem, even to yourself, a promise to yourself, get broken in even the smallest sense, because you may have to compromise on it. So another relating back to why I don't think things can be perfect. So I just don't like people say about society that holds a lot of value. That doesn't matter. So what if society holds a lot of value to it? It's so odd to me that so many people who are against a lot of who say, though, for one thing, they'll say that just because we've determined it as a society doesn't make it right, but then they'll swing the other way on something else to say, well, but societally does this. It doesn't matter. Are you for just because it's societally? It's gonna have to get split up because my psychologist is giving me a call. Just hold on a second. I actually need to talk to them.